gonna start out just doing some shoulder rolls. So you want most of the motion to be happening at your shoulders. Try not to move your arms so much. And then we'll go the other direction. Alright, next thing that we're gonna do is just move your hips around. Underneath the stars. Ooh, yeah, I want it all. Got me feeling like. And then we'll go the other direction. I wanna kiss your eyes. I wanna drink that smile. I wanna feel like my soul's on fire. I wanna stay up. Alright, now we're gonna take one arm and we're gonna bring it across our chest. I'm gonna kind of push a little bit to get a stretch in the back of your arm. When you're closer, give me the shivers. Oh, baby, you wanna dance to the sunlight. Now we'll switch to the other side. Now we're going to reach up over our head, bend our elbow, and reach up with the other hand. Kind of push back a little bit to get the stretch in the front of your arm. And then we'll switch and do it on the other side. Wrap me up between your legs and arms. Ooh, I can get enough. Alright, then we're just going to go up onto our toes and lower back down. So we'll try to do that 10 times. I never thought that I could love this hard. Ooh, I can get enough. 2 more. I wanna be that guy. Alright, then we're going to grab our leg and bring it up towards your bottom. Maybe. And then we'll reach to do the other side. Alright. The next one that we're going to do, we're going to spread our legs apart and reach down to one of your feet. And then we'll switch to the other side. And then reach towards the floor in the center. This thing started, I don't want it to stop. You know you make me shiver. This thing started, I don't want it to stop. You know you make me shiver. Oh, that's right. Okay, now that you're warming up, we're going to do a little bit of running in place. Good job. Good, we'll do 3 more. Good job. Next one. Alright, next we're going to do a side lunge. So get a wide stance and we're going to lunge. We're going to do 7 per leg. You're the medicine and the pain, the tattoo inside my brain, and baby, you know it's obvious. I'm a sucker for you. Last one on this side, and we'll switch. I'm a sucker for you. Yeah. Anyone can take you know that you'll find me. I'm a sucker for you. 2 more. Good. 1 more for good measure. We'll put our arms out to the side. We're going to do some forward arm circles. I'm a sucker for you. Yeah. Don't complicate it. And then we'll go backwards. I know you and you know everything about me. I can't remember. Good. Alright, so next one is going to be working your abs. You're going to take one arm, put it up on your head, and we're going to bring our opposite leg up for a little crunch. Work on your balance. Good. I'm a sucker for you. 2 more on this side. Alright, same thing, other side. I'm a sucker for you. Anyone can take you know that you'll find me. I'm a Crew legs.
Say the word and I'll go anywhere blindly.
Good.
I'm a sucker for you.
And we'll switch.
And you're out to take it.
Good job.
I'm a sucker for all this and everything. No, I know.
Good job. You did it. Woo!
I'm the presenter for the one class on your back for diabetes education. It's diabetes prevention and also diabetes management. One weird thing, those middle 2 dates in January, and I'll go over them at the end of the thing. I forgot it's my last slide in the deck. It's an either or. You don't have to do both of those because I'm going to try really hard to do the exact same thing twice. But a lot of times when I did every other weekend classes on Saturdays, people are like, but I work every other weekend. And I went, oh, okay, I'll just take these 2 Saturdays in a row and hopefully I get around people's work schedule. And it's Saturday because there's parking in the hospital then. And it's there because I have a key to the building. Well, I have a key to the classroom. Oh, I haven't found out if my key to the classroom works yet. I still got a week to do that. But okay. There's lots of wellness wheels. There's lots of self-care behavior tips and tricks. A lot of programs, even American Heart has a neat thing for like a health checkbook thing. So lots of things go into being well. You know, the one that gets all the press is food, right? That's all we ever hear about. And we never hear about sleep. We never hear about managing stress. We never hear about just the whole general health thing. So it's more, you know, I guess my challenge to you is kind of like expand your thoughts a little bit. You know, if we only watch what we eat, we totally miss if our sleep is good enough. We totally miss if we're being safe, getting strength, or getting our, building up our routines. You know, I have lots of people that I work with that say, I walk plenty. Okay, walking may not be the exercise part to do. It may be the strength training. Or depending on like, I've been doing way too much end of the year sitting at my desk stuff. So things that say go to the right, that's different than walking to the elevator or the stairs to go up and down. So you're gonna notice when you do new classes or try new things, the part you don't use all the time will say, hey, you haven't used me in a while. General health, if you're healthy enough to walk, you're probably healthy enough to start the program. But remember, this is day 1. This is week 1. If you haven't walked the block in 10 minutes since last year or 3 years ago, please don't go out tomorrow before it rains and snows and gets ugly and try to do 10,000 steps in half an hour. Your body isn't ready for it yet, okay? So a big thing is assess where you're already starting from, because if you overdo a muscle, overdo a tendon, then you're out while you recover. Okay, so start slow. Your body, your heart, your lungs, your muscles will all tell you, hey, give me a break, okay? But go slow and listen to your body. Maybe tracking and journaling, sleep, but lots of support, and that's what you get here. Every 2 weeks, every week, it's gonna be fun when you go to the Y. You're gonna see other people from the program walking around with the grid. You're gonna see people come up to you and go, hey, what's that grid thing all about? They can come join. Still, up until February 2nd, I think, they were still gonna take new people in. A little quiz, and it's probably hard to read from a distance. So just quiet to yourself. By your age, just count up points. If you're under 40, you don't get any points. If you're 40 to 49, you get 1 point. If you're 50 to 59, you get 2 points. Ugh, really. 60 and up, you get 3. If you are a man, you get 1 point. We're going to get an extra point there. If you are a woman and had gestational diabetes, you get 1 point. If you had family that has had diabetes, like a mother, father, sister, brother, 1 point. 1 point. But make it big enough to see. If you've ever been diagnosed with high blood pressure, that's another point. If you're physically active, if you're not physically active, you get 1 more point. And then the worst page of all, or the best. It's the best. It's letting you know where your starting point is. Based on your weight and your height, you get points by whichever part your weight fell in the column. So like I'm 5'4", and I'm in that group this time, so I get 2 more points. So it's just general. These are not ideal body weights. They are just stratas on how they divvied out the points for when they do population health and they look at everybody in a population that gets diabetes or prediabetes in this case. These were the weight buckets that tended to show up more often. Weight's not the only way this happens, okay? Everybody wants to blame it on weight or the donut or the glass of pop. When your body can't keep up, that's when our chronic diseases start, okay? So some of it is knowing where we are. So does anyone need any help figuring out the weight one? So if you came up with 5 points or more, it puts you at a higher risk of having prediabetes. So it's something to talk about. If your doctor hasn't talked to you about it, you can talk to him about it when you see him next. The other things that we don't always do well is track what's going on. Do an assessment before you throw the baby and the bathwater and the bathtub out, okay? Because some of your meals, some of your activity is already fine. Some of it needs adjusting, okay? So don't go home and think you gotta be like the TV show that throws everything out of your cupboards and then you try to fill them at the store. It's not gonna work really well right now either. So track something first, or maybe each week of this, find something else that you wanna track. Did I eat breakfast every day? How many times did I have walk-by eating? You know, the snack dish is there to take 1 or 2. Who cares? But I'm the only one eating the snack dish at my house, so when it's empty, it's food I gotta count, but it's food you don't think about. What we drink, that also counts, and we kind of forget about that as well. There's tons of journaling things out there. Are you guys all getting inundated with best family calendar, best tracking this, best whatever the new? I'm like, I didn't even search for that yet. Now I have, so I expect it now. Although just a Facebook story. My daughter, son-in-law, we cooked something a different way. I didn't look up any of the recipes for this. I didn't look up how to do it. In my Facebook feed, I get the, hey, this is how you do this. And I went, really? Unless it's just the big thing to do right now. That's Seuss cooking with hot water kind of thing. So foods, let's face it, there are about as many different eating patterns, food choices, options, opportunities, I think as there is food. There's DASH for blood pressure, there's Mediterranean for heart and blood pressure, lots of real food. But who's good habit? You know, who chooses what's good for you? So that's why we've developed eating patterns, because everybody's pattern is different. You know your body best, you know? I've had people tell me if I eat at this moment, I will feel good the rest of the day. But if I wait another hour or change up the combination, I feel better. So if you've got something that already works, don't fix that thing first. Look at how's it work in the big picture. Some people are very regimented time-wise. You know, some people kind of wait and say, hey, whenever I feel like eating, I'm gonna eat something. And that might work. But check it out and see how well is it working for you to keep you safe. Because not everybody is a breakfast, lunch, and dinner person. Some people are truly that every 2 or 3 hours throughout the day. Some people can't eat certain foods because of allergies. So this was my original. No wonder we're crazy about food, because think of all the different diets out there and all the different things. And every time you turn around, there's a new, hey, this does this and that does the other. And I think I just walked out of the picture frame again. So every diet that you read, and I'm sure you've read a few, there's probably a few that I didn't even find up there. They all write their plans based on whatever their focus is. Okay, so that's why you might go, hey, in Weight Watchers, this thing was 2 points, and in that diet over there, it's not even allowed, or it can be 10 times more than what that one was. So your food label, when it has a food label, it's the best place to get the information. You know, yes, it might be a little skewed in the math, but it's still better than, yeah, I think this is only 2 grams of carbs and 10 calories. It might be 200 calories and no carbs. So your most important thing on the label is that serving size, because that's what all these answers are for. This is not for the entire container. That would be 14 servings later. So that's where serving sizes get a little confusing, because they used to be really small in not telling you nice and big what the serving size was. That used to be regular print. Be nice if we reminded people that this is for 14 servings. Some labels do. You'll see some with 2 columns. One is for the serving, and one is if you eat the whole container. Then once you're digging in, the new food labels, you'll notice it doesn't say calories from fat anymore, because it was kind of confusing for what did it really mean. Fat's still here. Trans fats and saturated fats are the 2 that have to be there. Sometimes you'll get a label that gives you the poly and the monos. Sometimes you don't. Potassium is on some labels now. It doesn't have to be there, but once in a while you're going to see potassium near the sodium. Sodium's that salt line. So if I eat 1 slice of bread of this, I think that was bread, but 1 slice of whatever this is, I'm sorry, and it's 115 grams of carbs. Or no, sodium, sorry, wrong house. 115. So if I have 2 slices of bread, I got 230. If I eat 4 slices of bread, 2 sandwiches, I've got 460. You know, I got 1/4 of my day's worth of salt just there. So sodium sneaks in, and sometimes sodium, you don't taste it. It's something you don't even think is salty until you read the label and you're like, really? Okay. Carbs get all this bad press. Guess what? It's the gas for your gas tank. You don't eat it, your body makes it some other way to get sugar into your system so the brain works and the muscles move. And you gotta have insulin to move it across out of the blood into the muscles. So carbs, you want whole grains, you want the better ones. Wherever you can get the closest to nature, the more whole grains, the better off we are. But it can be kind of tricky. And fiber is nice, but it's already up here in the 21. Sugar is nice to know, but it's already up there in the 21. It's not something to add to it. See all these things indented in? They're already up here in the total. So a lot of people will look at sugar because that's what we call everything or yell about, but we forget to look at, hey, wait a minute, it's really 21 grams of carbs, even though it's only 1 gram of sugar. And out of that 1 gram of sugar, 1 of it was added, which is probably to feed the yeast. If you think about it, when you make bread, it's flour, milk, yeast. You got to have a little sugar to feed the yeast. Some breads have a lot more, depends on the type. And then proteins are on there. And that's another source of we either get way too much or not enough. So it's one of those things that if you're kind of finding, yeah, I ate this meal, an hour or 2 later, I'm hungry. Check out what was your protein? What were the oils? What was the sodium? Those are the things that kind of tend to go, oh, I'm still hungry, because your body wants a glass of water, but it says hungry first before it says water. The other thing to look at, new is going to be the vitamin D is there, calcium, iron, I think is the new one. Oh, there's the potassium. I thought some labels put it over there, but it doesn't have to be, it has to be over here. Look at the ingredient list. How fast do you need a dictionary to know what it is? That's a good indicator of how processed it is. You know, the more processed, the harder it is on your system sometimes. I didn't know I would find a nice label, so I grabbed, everyone wants to say it's their one little thing of coffee creamer. This little coffee creamer, it's a back. There's only 3 grams of carbs in it. There's no salt. So your little coffee creamer, if you do 1 or 2, may not be a problem. It's when you're doing 4 or 5 or just pumping in and you don't know how many you're using. Where are we? There we are. Also, the sizes of our plates have changed drastically over the years. So some of the food tips that you'll see are to go down to 9-inch plate instead of the 12-inch plate. Use the measuring cups once in a while, maybe not every time, but Don't cheat yourself by calling something that's only a half a cup, because you're going to be hungry because you didn't count that food right. You're setting your system up to be not having enough gas to get doing what you want to do. Some people like to weigh their food. So like on the food label, that little grams over there by the serving size is the grams of if you put it on a scale. That's what that is about. And use the measuring spoon, not the teaspoon in the drawer for your coffee, because it's not going to be the same measurement. And some people can use your hands. Let's face it, we've always got our hands around with us. So a fist for women is about a cup. For a guy, it's like about a cup and a half, depending on your hand. A cup tan this way is about a half a cup. Your tennis ball is about a half a cup. 2 hands together, like for a cup of popcorn. Is there cereal that way? The teaspoon? Is this the one that says, yeah, the fingertip? Like just the tip of your finger is a teaspoon. So if you're trying to go, yeah, what is that? And the tablespoon is like your entire thumb to figure out if they gave you 4 tablespoons of dressing at the restaurant instead of just 2. Anyway, there's lots of tips out there, you know, like for the size for a pancake if it's pancake day. The 4-inch, like CD, 4 inches round is a carb choice. Same as a slice of bread. That kind of stuff. So there's lots of pieces to this. And a part of it is what food is good for you. Because let's face it, we just got through a holiday season. We got another few holidays coming up. There's certain foods, there's certain tastes that you're just, that's what I want. So do it in moderation. Or plan it out in your day. Just don't eat the whole thing. Making a plan sometimes helps. Sometimes it doesn't. But sometimes planning it out ahead of time takes some of that, I'm just too tired to think about what I want to cook tonight. And if you've waited till you are hungry to think about what you're cooking for the meal that you are now starving for, you're eating whatever's on the counter. So that's where that trick is, to have good stuff on the counter, easy to grab, easy to go. The choose my plate, they moved our pyramid from the pyramid up to the plate, so you get a little less veggies. General food nutrition, there's a few vegetables that are more higher in carbohydrates, so they go over to the green group side and the cereal side. And try to cook once and eat all week, or a couple of times off it, or throw some in the freezer for that day that you're too tired. Sometimes playing with your food makes it fun. You know, there's all kinds of neat little ways to cut things up to make them fancy and fun. Cooking them in a different way can make them taste different. And if your cat or dog won't eat it, are you going to eat it too? I took a chance on something at the store and I was like, And the cat was like looking at me. And I went, okay, you can have some. And she looked at it and looked at me and walked away. Some foods are very different. You know, sometimes eating by a clock, or doing certain patterns, trying to not go too long in between meals. And then doing something physical. Even if it's 5 or 10 minutes after each of your meals, we'll get to our 30 minutes a day, most days of the week, for health. But like we said, if you don't play football, haven't rode the bike since 10 years ago, be gentle when you start. Go slow when you start. If you go to a class, the people that have been doing that class for a long time, they're coordinated. They know which step is coming next. If it's your first day, it's okay to be slow. You might do 2 steps and they've done 4. It's okay. Give yourself the pat on the back that you did it. You'll get there. It takes time. When it's nice out, go outdoors. Even drinking your coffee or tea outdoors has more health benefits to you than just being indoors. Blood pressure, stress. It was a weird study I read, and it was like all they did was go out to the front porch to do something instead of in the kitchen where they always did something. And getting sleep. When we get our physical activity more regular, we tend to sleep better. And when we're doing more physical activity, there's a lot of those nice endorphins that help you not be as hungry. And as we get older, how thirsty we are and how hungry we are kind of goes away until we're really hungry, really thirsty. So just be aware if you're starting to find that you're going long periods of time with no nutrition, to put gas in that gas tank so you can take that walk. Oh, I did 2 pages of that one. And if your workout's working for you, you know, if you've been doing something and you kind of caught that plateau of like, now it's not helping me lose. It might be time to make that workout a little stronger, a little harder, something different. Change it up for your system because the system will always pay attention to something new. And think about what changes you want to make. In the grid there, it's got, you know, setting a goal. Well, you want to be something real specific so that you can check it off to say I did it. And you might have 10 real specific, like, hey, I showed up for the meeting today. I kind of want mine to be that little green card isn't coming out of the front seat of my car, except to come to class for all of this. So they're achievable. Because if you say, if you make it too huge a goal for this week or next month, it's hard. And then it gets less motivating. So you want to stay motivated for all of this hard work, make it realistic so that you're not getting hurt. Set a time limit. You know, this week it might be, hey, I've never looked at the food labels at my lunch food. Maybe it's look at the food labels this week. Maybe it's measure something or cook something at home that you normally eat out. So I'm doing the classes. The January 21st is going to try to be all the topics fast and furious. Real light, like hot tips, quick tip kind of things. The 28th and 14th will be diving down more into the lifestyle changes. We'll do a lot of food. Can't get out of this without some food and monitoring and what we're looking for and how to use your numbers. How to use your journal at the end of the week or the end of the month to inform change. And then on the March, we kind of never have that support of like, okay, it's starting to get into the program's ending, now what am I going to do? Or by then you've got lots more questions that we maybe didn't think of back in February. So that's where the 11th is, if you want to come, you know, share your best practice, share your plans for the summer. You might have a great idea that somebody else will go, I think I can do that. Or I'd like to try that too. So you only get credit for 2 classes. So the 28th and the 4th are the same information both days. And so you could go like the first 2 things or first and third, and you can come to all 4 of them if you want to, but you just get the points for the 2. So whatever works out best for you. And I just flew through way too many slides, way too fast. This is another self-care behaviors, and that's what I'm going to be using for the Saturdays. That being healthy coping, being active, medicine if you needed it, monitoring the risks and the problem solving. Because that's some of the part we don't get. You know, you take the blood pressure, you take the blood sugar, you do your weights, you take them to the doctor. He says, but we don't always help you know how to use them in between your 3-month follow-ups.